Hi, welcome to a chef called Rhonda. I'm Rhonda and this is my kitchen. Today, I'm up in the ante. We're cooking with squid, calamari, also known as calamari, squid, authentic squid from the Northeast, fresh catch, flash frozen, sold in 1 pound packages, tubes and tentacles. Stay with me while I teach you how to make squid. Squid is commonly called calamari. Calamari technically is squid. Most often here in the States you hear about calamari as fried calamari. Today we're not doing that. Today I'm teaching you how to perfectly cook squid so that you have that sweet, fleshy, succulent taste. Before we get into the recipe itself, I want to speak a little bit about squid and calamari. It's one of my favorite entrees to make. Traditionally, when we speak about calamari, you tend to think about fried calamari, which is basically breaded and then either pan fried or deep fried. However, that comes jam-packed with a multitude of calories. Or in today's case, we're going to make sautéed squid with roasted peppers, onions, and grape tomatoes served over a bed of hot steaming linguine. I purchased squid already cleaned. It just makes everything that much easier. And my favorite squid to purchase is Rhode Island caught squid. If you shop Whole Foods, you can find the 16-ounce packages of the Town Dock calamari, wild caught, right in Rhode Island, which is the ocean state. The package looks something like this. Can you see that? And it sells for about $9.99 a pound. It is in the frozen section. You know that we're purchasing it traditionally either fresh in the seafood case or frozen. You can buy tubes, which look something like so. So this is a tube. Let me show you. I have a bowl of squid here. That's considered the tube, okay? That is a tube. The calamari squid tube, and also tentacles, okay? The tentacle of the squid, which looks like so. And when they cook, and you can see that little tentacle, let me hold it up really, and that's the tentacle there. This is in its uncooked state here. So what I did was I let the package thaw out on the counter for about an hour, and my next step is to drain it, okay? Drain it from its liquid. I'm not going to rinse it, I'm just going to drain it. I'm just going to drain away all that liquid, and I'm going to put a strainer underneath, like so, and I'm going to show you how to cut the squid into rings, okay? And that's traditionally how squid is served. If you know fried calamari, you know you get your squid rings and your tentacles. Okay, so our sauce is super easy, super simple, and we will hold that till the end. I want to teach you a little bit about how to cut it and how we'll cook it. Squid cooks almost instantaneously. That being said, you cook it off first, you reserve it in a dollop of olive oil, let it come down to a cool, and then you can make your sauteed veggies, primavera, or however you're going to cook it. But the art of cooking squid is the preparation. So I have my tubes. They look like so. Let me show you up close. This is my squid tube here. They're about 6 inches long, okay? And my squid is already pre-cleaned, removed of all the ink. I let the manufacturer do that part because that's awful daunting. Okay, what I do is I take my scissors. I have a nice pair of shears here. And I'm going to cut these tubes right into rings about 2 inches in length. So it should look something like so. So I'm cutting my tubes into rings. That's my first squid ring right there. Can you see that? That's my first, let me come closer here. That's my first squid ring, like so. And I will do that, and I'll go through all my tubes, and I will cut squid rings. Very, very easy. Now, when you take your squid out of the package, do not rinse it. Drain away the existing water from the thawing process and go ahead and start to immediately cut your squid rings. I don't add any salt to my recipe because obviously the squid lives in the North Atlantic Ocean, which has plenty of salt. So I'm going ahead and I'm cutting my squid rings. Okay, so I'm working my way through my squid tubes here, and I'm just cutting. So you have a tube that's about 6 inches, and you should get 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 rings per tube. So I'm going to hold it up so you can see. Let me move my preparation bowl to forward. Okay, so I'm going to cut my tube. I'm going to demonstrate just what the squid ring. So here's 1, 2, 3rd cut will yield 4 squid rings, and there we have it. So 1 tube, 4 squid rings, like so. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3rd cut, and 4th ring. And there we have it. And I will repeat this process until all my tubes are cut and sectioned off. Okay, so all my tubes have been cut, and I've placed my tentacles on top of the tubes. Now, again, that's just a mild preparation work to make everything kind of symmetrical and even. Okay, so I have all my tubes cut into my squid rings, okay, and my tentacles are here on top. Okay, so before we go forward with the recipe, I'd like to just speak a bit about the nutritional. About 104 calories, 18 grams of protein, low in carbohydrate, half cup only has 3 grams of carbohydrate, and then the fat content is 2. So if you're trying to watch your intake, this is a great entree. I don't subscribe to any pre-soaking of the squid. So long as the squid is fresh, you should be able to open the package, cut the tubes, you know, make sure your tentacles are intact, make sure you have tentacles. I like to actually have more tubes than tentacles, but there's no pre-soaking required in my opinion. Now, couple of pointers. Squid cooks fast. Squid, also known as calamari, cooks very, very quickly. So the next step in the process of cooking the squid basically is to do just that. I have a 6-quart stock pot on the stove, already has water that has been brought to a boil. I've closed the heat, and I'm going to show you just how quickly squid will cook up. And you should cook this no more than 2 minutes. You should not let it sit in the water any longer than 2 minutes because you want it to retain that nice structure, and it will turn a nice bright white, and that's how you know it is ready. Okay, so let me go grab our stock pot, and I moved our stock pot over to our preparation area. As you can see, the steam, I have about a couple of quarts of water, just plain water, no salt, no olive oil, nothing. It's been brought up to a boil. I will take our squid rings and tentacles, and I will now add them right into that piping hot water, and I will give it a turn. I will cover the lid like so for about a minute. And while this is just working and rendering out and cooking the squid, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about I purchased it frozen and cleaned. If you decide not to purchase squid cleaned, it can be a major project to remove all the ink and remove it properly at that. So time is of the essence in our busy work schedule. We want to eat healthy, we want to eat super easy, super healthy, and super delicious. So let's opt for the clean squid. Remove the lid of our stock pot with the boiling water. And I'm just going to bring it up. Oh, and you can smell the niceness of the squid. And you can see the squid rings, how they've rendered out and cooked down. Can you see that? Can you see how they've turned now to a nice white? Let's see, maybe that's a better view right there. Can you see that? I'm going to drain them into our colander, a good rinse, and place them back in our preparation bowl. And at this time, I am going to add our 2 tablespoons of olive oil, like so. I'll take my handy dandy wooden spoon here, and I will incorporate that olive oil into the squid rings and the tentacles. Now, it's important to note that squid does shrink. So time is of the essence with this recipe. I want to show you how the tentacles, can you see that? Can you see the tentacles and the rings? And they're so delicate, and oh, you can just almost want to eat them now. Okay, so let me get a better shot of that. Here's our tentacles. Look at that. This is our tentacle here. Our tentacles. Woo! And our squid rings, and they turn white. How do we identify when the squid has sat in the boiling water enough? When it turns bright white and your tentacles turn a nice mauve-y color, like so. Okay, and there should be no shrinkage. No shrinkage on the squid. We're actually going to incorporate the olive oil, as we already did. Just get every bit of that olive oil onto the squid. And we're going to let this sit uncovered and let it cool. Okay, now that we have our cooked squid rings and tentacles, we will let them sit to cool on the side of our board, and we'll get to work at our sautéed peppers, onions, and grape tomato sauce. Okay, so I went ahead, as my squid was cooling, I went ahead and I chopped my green, red, yellow bell pepper. I finely chopped my onion, and I added my grape tomatoes whole, and I added my 8 cloves of garlic, and I sautéed everything together for about 6 or 7 minutes over medium heat. So in the effort to save time, I went ahead and did this prior and while our squid was cooling. Now, I've also let this sautéed mixture also come down to a cool. Why did I do that? Well, I did that so when I go ahead and add our tube and tentacles, or our squid, to this mixture, the squid does not overcook and shrink and become tough. So at this time, I have 2 pans. I have my sautéed peppers, and I have my squid, and they are both brought down to cool, and I'm going to marry the 2 ingredients together. So I'm adding my tubes and my tentacles, like so, to incorporate with my spoon all the wonderful flavors. So we have that sweet, succulent flavor that the squid provides, and we have the warmth from the pepper and the sweet bell pepper and the tomatoes and our olive oil and the garlic. Now, take a look at this. Take a look at this mixture right here. Now, my final step, okay, I can leave this on top of the stove with no heat, covered, until I'm ready to boil my linguine. It's a perfect meal, okay? So you can see this tentacle here. It's so big and so juicy and so succulent, and when it marries with this nice sautéed mixture, oh, it's a party in your mouth. Well, I hope you enjoyed how to cook squid. Super healthy, super delicious, super fun to make. If you have any questions, please email me or comment down below, and I'll certainly get back to you within 24 hours. But again, buon appetito! I'd like to recap today's recipe, how to cook squid, how to cook calamari perfectly. First off, I want to let you know that squid is one of my favorite foods, not only to eat, but to cook. It's super easy, super healthy, super delicious. Incidentally, squid happens to be popular worldwide for its versatility as well as its taste. It can be prepared in many ways, commonly known as fried calamari. You can saute it, you can bake it, you can stuff it. You can serve it cold. And some folks even eat it raw. A half cup of calamari or squid, 104 calories with 18 grams of protein, only 3 grams of carbohydrate and 2 grams of fat. So if you're watching your intake, what better entree to serve than freshly cooked squid? Super easy, super fun, super healthy and delicious. I want to take a moment and say thank you for letting me into your kitchen and showing you the authentic way to make calamari. Try it. It's wonderful. Today, we'll pair it with linguine and some roasted vegetables. However, that said, you can pair it with fresh fruit, cantaloupe, maybe a slice of prosciutto on the side as an appetizer. In so many ways, squid is exquisite. And when you serve it to your guests, especially this meal, today's meal, when you serve it to your guest, you'll look like $1 million. All right, well, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, please comment down below. Give us 2 big thumbs up. Hope you subscribe to a chef called Rhonda. Every Tuesday I post a new cooking show, and I hope to have you on board. All right, thank you. Cheers. Bye. Salute.